Welcome to Insight Plug, the podcast where independent creators and entrepreneurs connect and inspire. I'm your host, Devon Jones. Today on our show, we have a musician and a composer. He creates emotional composition that tells a story. His name is Matthew Summerfield. Matthew, welcome to the show.
Hi, welcome. Thank you very much.
All right, so I love your body of work, and being a musician, that takes a lot of skill because there's some musicians that have to watch the film and then kind of figure out the tone and the feel, and then there's some musicians who kind of already have an idea of what they want to put into the film before they even see the film. So if you can take us a little back from the beginning, what made you decide that, okay, musician and composer for TV and film is something that I want to do?
Um, Basically, I got made redundant from my job, and I love film. I've always been a musician, and I just thought, well, I'm going to try and mix these two. So I went off and I did a master's degree in film composition. And from there, I just made loads of contacts and, just tried to get into it because I love film, I love classical music and electronic music, and I thought, why not try and blend the two?
Nice, nice. That's awesome. So you do composition for TV and film. Would you be able to explain to us like if there's a difference between the two?
TV tends to be more sort of episodic. Films is one project. So with TV, you can come up with a theme and you can develop that theme over a number of episodes. Whereas a film, you have a shorter amount of time to do the same thing.
Nice, nice. All right. So let's jump into some of your projects. So before we get into the films, you have some clips that I stumbled across. One is called Paths to Power, and you said that would be like a good opening titles kind of theme. Like how did you decide to navigate that?
It's just basically like sort of I was sharpening my axe, if you know what I mean. I sort of envisioned this sort of American political drama, and I thought, well, what is the sound of that? What can I do to make it sound like these TV shows? And so that was the idea for that sort of personal project. I just yeah, just went into it just thinking, I can try and get as much out of this as I can to um, you know, and put it forwards. I'm just rambling now.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And then so we have another one. It's called The Psalm, and the Psalm, and it says that this was inspired by All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yes, I saw the film, and there was a sort of a hybrid electronic track in that, and it sort of made me think, oh, I wonder if I can do something similar, fully electronic. Um, and so basically, I came up with this story in my head of a soldier sort of just waiting to go over the top into no man's land, and I wanted to sort of portray like you would in classical music that you hear in film music with strings and orchestra. I thought, how can I do that in an electronic way? And so I've got lots of like sound designy bits where I've tried to capture sort of, rats and things like that running around. And I really wanted to convey the fear of that moment before they blow the whistle and you're going over the top into no man's land.
That's awesome. So it's like it seems that you have like this visualization of something, and that's how you make the feel that comes in the music and the sound.
Yeah, I'm an extremely visual person, so I can kind of, have a film in my head, um, which is something that you have to do as a composer as well. You don't always get a film, you get a brief. The filmmaker will say, "Oh, I want, this particular sound," and they'll give you a brief of, and they'll give you a sort of a rundown of composers they like and pieces of music that they like. And so you have to sort of envision the film, especially if you're reading off of a script or something, in your own head. So to be able to visualize what you're scoring to does help when you don't have anything in front of you.
Nice, nice. That's so awesome. Okay, so now we're gonna jump into some of the projects that you were a part of. This one is called The Barn. If you can briefly tell us what it was about, and I believe you went to some film festivals that had this there. If you can tell us how that experience was as well.
Yeah, so the barn is a bit of a time travel-y kind of thing where a girl has these beads around her neck and and they sort of revive her and it basically turns her immortal. And so it's her journey through time from the sort of 1300s on into the 1950s. And I heard about this film and I really wanted to be involved with it because I love time travel and sci-fi. And so, yeah, got talking to the director, and he said, just have at it. You know, do what you think is right for it. And so I scored from 450 AD to 1365. And so what I did was I made a little a theme that I could sort of change the sound of from sort of sort of the Hollywood version of the Viking era to the sort of Hollywood version of the sort of early Middle Ages. Yeah, and it was brilliant fun. Yeah. As far as the film festivals, it's now doing the circuits. It's shown in LA, all over the world. I think it's got over 40 nominations now, from festivals. So it's doing really well. We're really proud of it.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so let's talk a little bit about you as a musician and a composer. So when you're not, working on projects, when you're not composing sounds for other people's films, what is this something that kind of say for instance, like a writer has writer's block, like in your situation where you're kind of like overwhelmed and you want to kind of like just detach from this your projects. What are some things you kind of do to kind of like relax your mind?
Honestly, it's step away from the keyboard. Completely try not to think about it at all. You do your best work when you're not actively trying to write. I genuinely think that sort of procrastination is about 80% of the job. You,
Yep.
you get your best ideas in the shower, that cliche sort of thing. But I like walking, so I go walking up our local hill through our forests and things, and so I just sort of ruminate as I'm sort of walking along. So yeah, genuinely, if you have writer's block and you're stuck in your studio, that is why. Don't get a studio tan. Get out.
Nice, nice. Is there a person or a project or even a composer that influenced you early on?
I loved Edvard Grieg. He's a Norwegian composer from the 19th century. I love Holst, who, actually, funny enough, is actually buried in my local cathedral. Um, he did the planets. Um, yeah, Grieg did Morning Mood, and of course John Williams. He's like our savior in the media composition world. John Williams is just a cut above the rest, in my opinion, in the way that he writes music. His technicality and depth of knowledge within this field is pretty much unparalleled, I'd say.
All right, so what is out of the projects that you worked on and the composition that you did, what is something that is like a memorable piece that you've done so far that you're like most proud of?
Most proud of. Honestly, there's a scene in the barn. I won't give too much away, but there's an actress in there, and she conveyed so much emotion that I just basically used her direction, and it came out beautifully. I did sort of these swelling strings. Obviously, it's a sad moment, so so I did that, and that's what I'm most proud of so far in the film world because yeah, I think I really nailed that one. I don't get to say that a lot, so yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. I love it. All right, so I asked this question to all the guests. If you could recommend a book, a TV show, or a movie, or in your case, or even a soundtrack, what would you recommend to an aspiring musician or composer?
Okay, so a book, Rimsky-Korsakov's Principles of Orchestration, which I have a picture of on my Instagram if you want to find that. It's very good for orchestration. If you're doing film music, you are going to need to know how to orchestrate. Even if you don't know musical theory, anything like that, it just tells you very plain English how to build an orchestral sort of, where the strings go, how many strings to use, how many, of the woodwinds and stuff like that. It's extremely informative. If you're learning piano, um, Hanon, the book Hanon, really great book for technical exercises for your fingers. What was the other one?
It
What was
could
the other
be a
question? Sorry.
movie or a TV show or a soundtrack.
Okay. Movie for the soundtrack is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Steven Spielberg and John Williams. The soundtrack on that is just phenomenal. Yeah, so if you want to listen to that,
Oh,
amazing soundtrack, amazing film.
awesome, awesome. All right, so before we wrap it up, is there anything that you want to tell the next generation of filmmakers that's, ready to get their feet wet, ready to go in for that first audition, ready to jump on set for their first project?
Yeah, if you don't feel ready, that's good. No one does. Just get out there, do it. If you feel like it's a little bit over your head and you're like, I'm not ready for this, discard that. Just go for it. You can learn on the job. This is what this job is. You've really just got to take the plunge and do it. If you fail, great. You'll know not to fail or what not to fail on next time. It's all part of the learning experience. So yeah, just go for it.
There you go, you guys. Go for it. All right, that was today's episode of Inside Plug. If you like today's episode, check out some of our previous episodes with film composers as well. All right, thank you again. Today we had Matt Summerfield, musician and composer. Once again, guys, stay inspired and keep creating. Matthew, thank you so much for today.
No problem.